noswaith da. Diolch am fawr iawn. Diolch, Deputy Vice Chancellor Dylan Jones. Dwi'n hapus iawn I fod yma. Mae'n arnydydd. Diolch i'n arbennig I etxepare ar ganolfan. Mila esker, hemen egotea ahalbidetu duzuen guztioi. Bereziki etxepare institutuari eta ikerketa aurreratuen ikerguneari eta bereziki Elin Huff Jonesi. Well, thank you very much indeed. These days I've been talking to many people. I had the opportunity to talk to many people. It's been truly an enriching experience for me. I've learned a lot, I'm learning a lot. And now I hope that I can contribute a little bit to enrich our dialogues with the words that I will share with you today. Well, first I will briefly discuss the current situation of the Basque language. Well, mainly how successful we are in ensuring everyone can learn or not the Basque language in the Basque country. And then I'll address, mainly which our challenges are and how we are addressing these challenges and how we can address these challenges. Yeah, because I would like to focus mainly on solutions, on possible solutions, things that are happening already. Yeah, because depending on if we are or not successful, then we can improve or not the quality, the quality of the lives of many people. Well, okay. Well, in the territory in which Basque is spoken, I will give you a little bit of context. We call it Euskal Herria, the Basque, the land of the Basque or the Basque speakers. We have witnessed a remarkable resurgence of the Basque language. In the past, it was the main language of the speakers of the Basque country, but then it was minoritized. Some even fear that it would disappear, yeah? But it didn't disappear. Not only it did not disappear, but also it expanded, yeah? And it gained hundreds of thousands of new speakers. Yeah, that's something that has happened in these recent decades. And as you can see in the graph, currently we are almost 800,000 speakers. So you can see here just the recent evolution, but if we go back more decades, the evolution started from below. Okay, so it's really a remarkable evolution. The good news is also that this evolution, this positive evolution, has happened mainly, as you can see here in the graph, among the youngest generations. Yeah, for example, really surprising, striking, and important, something that we should emphasize. For example, in 1991, among the generation, the people who were between 16 and 24, there were almost 22%, about 22% of speakers. Yeah, but nowadays, at least we have here the data from 2016. It's 55%. Yeah, so it doubled. Yeah, so and it's really something that is remarkable. Well, regarding usage, things are not that bright, but still we have gained many speakers. Yeah, and the good news is that it's happening also among the youngest generations. Well, so maybe after you see this data, maybe what you wonder is how is it possible to achieve that kind of evolution, positive evolution in the Basque country with Basque speakers? And mainly the answer is education, schools. Yeah, what we have done with the schools. It's something that I think we should emphasize the capacity, the transformative capacity of schools, because they really have it. I don't mean that all schools have it. I mean that depending on how the schools are, they have a really transformative capacity. So I want to emphasize that. Not all schools, depending on the school. But in this case, since immersion Basque medium schools were created, like really, I mean, many of them, yeah, then things changed a lot. We had Basque medium schools before, even before the Civil War, you know, the Civil War, 1936, 39, even after, but they were not many students. They were important because they were a reference for the following decades, but in terms of numbers, they were not that many. But the big change started in the 1960s, when people from civil society started to organize Basque medium schools, and well, it changed everything, yeah, because they became more and more attractive. More and more students went there, yeah, and then after in the south of the territory in which Basque is spoken, in the south of the territory, after the transition from the dictatorship, because this movement of schools started during the dictatorship, okay, but after the transition, after the dictatorship, some institutions, public institutions, started to promote also Basque and Basque medium education, and well, this was a real turning point also. However, as you can see here, still in the 1980s, well, there was a long road, yeah, ahead. So in the subsequent decades, what you can see here in the graph is how Basque medium education, which is the green line, yeah, increased dramatically, yeah. At the moment, taking into account the whole territory in which Basque is spoken, more than 60% of the students are enrolled in Basque medium education, yeah. And if you look at the youngest, mainly in the most populated areas, yeah, there it's more, in some cases it's more than 90% of the youngest, yeah. So that's something that is really remarkable, and it's something that has happened since the 1980s, yeah, and maybe if we go back, since the 1960s, okay. This is something very, very important, because at the moment, still, Basque is a minority language. Well, I can show you, for example, nowadays, almost, taking into account the whole territory, almost 30% of the population speak it or are proficient in Basque. But it means that if we take into account families that can be good backgrounds to learn Basque, only 1 out of 4 families are effective backgrounds or effective contexts to learn the Basque language. So it means that 3 out of 4 children don't have that background at home. Okay, that's why schools are so important. Yeah, and so if you look at this, well, I think you can understand why we were able to gain hundreds of thousands of new speakers. Well, this is very important. It's very important that through schools we offer real opportunities for everyone to learn Basque, because nowadays, well, it's not just because we want Basque to be alive. It's also because when you learn Basque, it opens doors. Yeah, it opens doors. It opens doors, for example, in the public sector. It's getting more and more important in the private sector. It opens doors, other kinds of doors, like social relations, social connections. Well, to be honest, it's also, from the perspective of many, when you know Basque, you are more glamorous. Well, so as you have seen before, still it's a minority language, and well, that's our context. So the evolution was very positive, but still it's a minority language. Well, the usage, you see, I mean, the usage is remarkable, but still the usage of a minority language. And there are things, because as I told you, I was showing you the evolution, but also the challenges. Yeah, and this data show quite clearly the challenges that we are facing now. Yeah, because what you can see here is the data measuring the competence of the Basque language among students who are 9-10 and students who are 13-14. Yeah, so well, it's important to understand this data properly, because it doesn't mean that the proficiency is declining. Yeah, we have more and more speakers. Yeah, more and more. But among those who are Basque speakers, those whose proficiency is not really high is increasing. So we have more speakers, but we have more speakers whose proficiency is not enough. Yeah, here you have the amount of speakers who have more than the basic proficiency. Yeah, so we've got a challenge there. And we've got a very important challenge because it shows that immersion models are absolutely necessary, but they are not enough. Yeah, and our challenge is to go on spreading the immersion models, that then if we really want to make the Basque language accessible for everyone, we have to see what we can do in those immersion models to become as effective as possible. Okay, and I would like to focus on specifically on that. Yeah, because immersion programs are crucial, but not enough. Okay, I'll show you what can be done. Yeah, and things that are happening in real schools and research that is being conducted and published in top scientific journals. So this is one school. Now I'm going to Catalonia. Yeah, and I'll show you. It's just one example, but it's a very good sample, and that shows what is happening with many schools. Yeah, well, just to show the example, this is a school in Catalonia, in Barcelona, in the south of the city of Barcelona, in a municipality called Hospitalet de Llobregat. In this district, the inhabitants are of immigrant origin, and well, they send their kids to a school. They are not immigrant origin like football players or so. They are like from, well, underserved backgrounds. So they send their kids to the school. It means that in the public school in that district, 95% of the students are of immigrant origin. Okay, the stereotypes would say that they would have like not good academic results, and maybe well, the climate or the school climate is not the best possible. Well, that's only stereotypes, because in this school, they are achieving better academic results than the average of Catalonia. Yeah, and they are 90% of immigrant origin, and they are getting better results than the average of Catalonia. In some cases, in some subjects, they are getting better results than elite schools in Catalonia. Yeah, they say that they are an elite school because they have the results. Yeah. Well, that was a school that we could see on the newspapers, TV, etc. For, well, in many places. And one of the terms that they used to define this school was miracle school. Miracle school. And the teachers there were not that happy about the term. They were happy because, well, it suggested that they were doing something remarkable. That's a good thing. But on the other hand, they were not that happy because it didn't suggest that it was based on work, yeah, on the work they did, yeah, and well, it was based on the work they did, and well, I didn't say that, but their results were above the average of Catalonia, also in regarding the Catalan language, yeah, and families didn't know Catalan. Okay, that's the situation. Yeah, I'm showing you this obviously because there's something we can do if we want to. I mean, if we imitate them, yeah, we can do really excellent things. Well, by the way, in 2017, they received the award of the best school in Catalonia. Yeah, and they received it because of their academic results. Yeah. When we mention this school, sometimes people say, okay, it's just one school. It's not representative of other schools. But well, that's not true. There are other schools that are doing very, very well, and they are achieving very good results. In fact, for example, in Catalonia, the next year, in 2018, another school of similar characteristics was received the award of the best school in Catalonia. Okay, and they received it not because they had good academic or excellent academic results, because they had good, excellent academic results. That well, since the previous year they awarded a school because of that. In 2018, they received the award because they were able to achieve a school climate that could address school violence very, very effectively. Yeah, well, and these things are really connected because, well, when we are talking about the language, well, we are talking about something, a tool that, well, is affected by many other conditions. Okay, so if other aspects are working well, well, the possibilities for the language and for the learning of the language improve a lot. When and it's also when the language learning really works, then other things can work much better. Okay. Well, now I will talk about the educational actions that they are conducting in these schools. But first of all, I would like to emphasize that the educational actions that they are conducting in the school that I mentioned, in the two schools that I mentioned, these educational actions are being conducted in thousands of schools in 4 continents, in America, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia. And well, there's something very important about this, and it's that what they are looking for is equality of results. Yeah, when we go to a hospital, we don't understand that we have the right for good health care when we are just in the hospital. I mean, for us, the right for a good health care means that we are receiving the best therapy possible, for example. Yeah, in education, it's the same. It's the same. In education, we are really addressing the right for education when we really try to achieve, and we achieve, equality of results. Yeah, and how can it be done? It can be done when, like, I don't know, like in a hospital, when things that have been proven to work are put into practice. Yeah, it's something that it's very obvious in other areas of life, but in education it doesn't look like that obvious so far, but still it's open already the door, and it's getting more and more obvious. Well, when we say that it can be done, we are not saying it taking into account that, I don't know, we know that students are diverse, they come from very different backgrounds, and it can be done when taking into account this diversity. Okay? By the way, when this diversity is addressed effectively, the schools that are more diverse get better results than other schools that are less diverse. Yeah? And by the way, that's something that I think it's important to bear in mind, that this is something that is happening all around the world. 40% of the students are enrolled in schools in which the language of instruction is not the language they have at home. Yeah? So it's a shared challenge. Of course, the circumstances are different depending on the context and so on, but 40% of the students in the world, yeah, are enrolled in schools in which they have a language which is not their family language. By the way, as I said, we have to focus on things that work and things that have been proven to work. Yeah, and by the way, just a quick mention: the European Commission nowadays they have this monitoring this expert report in which they are based, and nowadays in the top research fundings they are not giving funds. They are not accepting research that is not focused on solutions. Okay, and it's probably something that will spread. Well, so when you choose what to do in a school, I think that these two criteria, these two questions, could be quite useful. Yeah, first, which schools have improved through this action? So if somebody, because I don't know, in Wales, in the Basque country, education is like a big market in which we are offered all the time many different things. So we have to choose. We have to choose all the time. And it's good that we have good criteria to choose. And if you filter all the choice that you have, all the offers, when you filter them through these two questions, probably you'll make a good choice. Yeah. And which are the two questions? Which schools have improved through these actions? If somebody is offering you something, it's necessary that person shows you which schools have been improved through these actions. Yeah? Because otherwise, I don't know, we cannot imagine in the Faculty of Medicine that somebody is saying, okay, you have to do this, but no patient has been cured with therapy. Yeah? But in education, still, we are not on that page. Yeah? And the other question is, what top scientific publications validate these results? Because you can say, yes, okay, there are this and that school that have experienced it and it works. Yes, but that's not enough. We need a scientific validation. And scientific validation comes when research is published in top scientific publications, because that's the way it works in science. Well, so in the schools that I mentioned before, they are putting into practice a project that is based in that approach of let's put into practice just those educational actions that have been proven to work, yeah, and to work for everyone, not just for some students, but for all students. Okay, and this was a project which was developed in the European Commission framework program, and they defined several educational actions which they called successful educational actions, and all of them were actions that were proven to be effective, guaranteeing quality education for everyone. Well, you can find it here in the School Education Gateway. If you want to read about this, maybe this could be an interesting reading. It's quite. It was published not long ago, and it's a synthesis of successful educational action. So maybe you may be interested in reading this. This is an important journal. I think it's the third most cited journal in the area of education nowadays, educational research. So this could be interesting. Well, by the way, this is Ramon Flecha. He's an emeritus professor at the University of Barcelona. He's from Bilbao, from Basque country. And well, by the way, he's the most cited researcher for example, in social impact, according to Google Scholar. But he was the main researcher in that project that I mentioned before. The project is the name is included, and this book written by him could be also a very good introduction to successful educational actions, It's very good book. And well, he was the one leading the definition of the successful educational actions. And well, I can say many things, but just to summarize and to show you again a little sample of it, with the data that they collected in that project. For example, in one school, they identified how, for example, taking into account reading skills. Yeah, when they introduced these so-called successful educational actions, the reading skills, the number of students who were proficient in reading, before introducing these actions, the number was 17% of the students. After introducing the actions, it was 85% of the students. So the improvement was huge, yeah? But there's something else that should be mentioned, and that something else is that this improvement happened while the number of immigrant students increased from being 12% to being 46%. Okay? So, why can we say that it can be done? Because it's happening in many schools and it's reflected in top scientific publications. Okay? So, well, it cannot be denied. What are the bases? Very quickly, but well, first, one basic idea based on really important and quite well-known authors is the idea of participating in interactions. Interactions as the key for learning. Yeah, it doesn't come from inside. It's about participating in interactions. Yeah, and so with language is the same. Yeah, decades ago, well, there was a controversy. There was a debate about this. Nowadays, there's no debate about this. There is a consensus that participating in the interactions in the target language is the key for guaranteeing that learners will learn that target language. Okay? So that is the key, that we guarantee that everyone can participate in the interactions in the target language. Well, so if we want that, we need to guarantee that everyone has the support necessary to participate in those interactions, okay? And well, there are different ways to group students. Well, the only one that really works is inclusion, yeah? Not streaming students, not mixturing, like having like the mixtured grouping is like when you have diverse students in the same group, but not the necessities of all the students are addressed. Yeah? Inclusion is a group of diverse students in which the necessities of each student is addressed. And you may say, how? Yeah, how? Okay. Well, now I'll go to the more specific things, but just for I should mention also another pillar. Interaction, participating in interaction is one of the pillars. The other pillar is opening education and schools to families and the community. Okay, this is key. There is a lot of research proving that this is a key thing. If we are able to to open doors for families, for the community, and if they can really participate in the educational process, yeah, in the educational process, then we are establishing a pillar that is very solid and very effective to guarantee effective education for everyone. Well, why? Because when interactions are richer and we have more agents involved, then things can be much better. Well, about the specifics, I cannot go too specifically on these things because I have 12 more minutes, but at least I will mention them, and if you want, well, I can send you more information. There's a lot of information, so if you are interested in, please let me know and I will send you information. So one of the educational actions that is put into practice in those successful schools, it's interactive groups, yeah, which means that the class is divided into small groups in which there is one adult in each group, yeah, and well, they work on on the syllabus, yeah. They don't do exceptional things. They do normal things that they would do in the normal group, but they do it in a way of organizing the class that is much more effective, and nobody is left behind when it's done properly, of course. Then another educational action, which is very, very popular in these schools, is dialogic gatherings. Yeah, well, there are many different gatherings, like literary gatherings, music, art, scientific gatherings. And the most popular, I would say, is literary gatherings. Yeah, and what they do is they read a book, and then they share the readings about that book. It's like a book club, but it's not like a book club, because there are some similarities. They read a book and they share the book, but it's not that much about, I don't know, for example, trying to guess what the author would like to say no, it's about, well, what kind of things are interesting for those participants in the gathering. Yeah, so they underline things that they are interested in, they share, and they explain why it was interesting for them. Yeah, and then the idea is creating dialogues that are enriching. Yeah, and when you create those dialogues in the classroom, you are enriching the interactions. And when we are talking about enriching interactions, we are talking about enriching interactions in terms of relationships, also in terms of contents. You may listen to things that you cannot imagine in class, yeah, and you can listen to things from people who probably in other contexts wouldn't speak. Yeah? But then in terms of language learning, you are doing something that you are interested in, something that is engaging in the target language. Yeah? So that's why I said before that if other things are working well, then language learning can benefit from it. Okay, another educational action is family education. When families are offered education, training that they are interested in, yeah, it has an important influence on their children. Yeah, so this is something that should be taken into account. By the way, in the school that I mentioned before, Joaquin Ruira, I think I didn't mention the name, it's Joaquin Ruira. Well, in that school, they are doing everything. Everything I mentioned here, they are doing everything. Tutor libraries or extended learning time. Extended learning time is something that research has proven for decades. It means that, well, in the Basque Country, for example, it's a typical thing that families who can afford it send their kids to English private lessons. Yeah? But this is not just for those who can afford it. It's for everyone, and not just for foreign language. It's for all types of skills, competencies that are important at school. Yeah? And for example, the tutor libraries are very, very interesting and really transformative because they offer for everyone a place to work on their homework, on things that they have to improve, and they do it in a collaborative way. Yeah? And they work very, very well. Then, another thing that is very important is the dialogy model for conflict prevention and resolution, which means that there are several actions that this approach, these actions address school violence, which is something that is present. Maybe we don't see it or we don't look at it. But it's there and it's happening everywhere. Yeah. So what they do is they don't look at the other side. Yeah. They address the problem and they try to solve it. By the way, this is something that is included in the Sustainable Development Goals, which is a priority. One of the pillars of quality education according to Sustainable Development Goals is safe learning environment. Okay? So if we are focused on language learning, we have to care about creating safe learning environments. Well, by the way, the European Commission recently published this report, which is very, very interesting. They summarized the educational actions that really work. The only ones that they have found in the scientific literature to address school violence and guarantee the well-being of children and teenagers. Okay, so the ones in blue are the ones that they do in these schools. There are some others, yeah, but it's important that we focus on actions that really work. Well, and very briefly, in the following 6 minutes, I will mention very briefly some research that has been conducted in the Basque context. Okay, because these things, so far I've mentioned Catalonia, I've mentioned like theoretical things, but there has been research conducted in the Basque country in Basque medium schools, yeah? And the research that we've got demonstrates that it works also in the Basque medium schools, okay? For example, the following, this one and the next slide show research about interactive groups, yeah? That way of organizing the class in small groups. And for example, this one, well, it was well, I think that the results were remarkable because it shows that interactive groups were effective not only in guaranteeing that everyone was engaged and everyone could learn Basque, because in this school, because this is based on one school, the sample is taken from one school, there were students who were lost, but when they started doing interactive groups, then they engaged. They started being engaged to the activity, to the curricular activity. But not only that, I mean, there was another extra thing, and it was that some students reported that because they participated in the interactive groups, they could create quality relationships with their mates, with other people in their class. And this is very important because well, it's not that easy to create those places, those moments in which you can have a quality relationship with other people. Yeah, and this, so as you see, different aspects help each other, promote each other. Yeah, and this was a clear case of that. This other article, by the way, was published yesterday. It shows that the same. It's more or less in the same vein. Well, that interactive groups guarantee that everyone can be engaged in the regular classroom, in the regular tasks. Yeah, so interactive groups guarantee that everyone can learn the language, but can learn in the minority language. Yeah, so both things. Yeah, because I mean, language is a key tool to access the contents too. Yeah, so interactive groups are useful for that. Another one. This, by the way, the following two are in secondary because they are conducted in different contexts, in different types of schools. I told you that the first school was in the private, underserved context. Yeah, the following are not. For example, this one was conducted in a very prestigious school in the Basque country, very prestigious school, and it worked too. So it can work in many different contexts, and that's the good thing about these actions. But for example, here, this is the one about dialogic literary gatherings in which they read a book and they shared and so on. Well, here, one of the things that was demonstrated was that, well, they were able to participate in interactions in the target language. One of the good things about these dialogic gatherings is that, well, for example, in this prestigious school, a student said that it was the first time they could speak in the classroom in Basque, yeah, and besides they could speak about something that they were really interested in, yeah. So they read classic books, and then they shared their readings about the things that they were interested in the target language, which was Basque, okay, and so it was very useful also to develop their oral skills, yeah. And another research which demonstrated that doing dialogic gatherings, the attitude of the students towards learning the language improves. Yeah? Why? Because, I mean, they feel good about it. They see that it's worth doing. They feel that they are learning something. It's interesting. So their attitude changes. Yeah? And it's very important, because if your attitude changes, then probably you will invest more energy, more effort on doing it. Yeah? And well, in some other, this is not in the Basque context, but this is very interesting research in which they counted the time and the turns taken by teachers and students, and they saw that when doing dialogic literary gatherings, the participation of the students increased dramatically. So, if we want the students to participate in the interactions in the target language as actively as possible, this is a very good way of doing it. Well, here you can see, well, some data about it. And then I will finish with one thing that is, I think it's very promising. This was not a study conducted on language learning. Yeah, it was not developed conducted in the Basque Country. That this research showed that when students participated in contexts in which educational actions were effective, then their self-identity as students changed. Yeah, so everyone has an identity as a student. You can feel like that you are a good student or bad student, or, well, it's diverse. Yeah, there are diverse students, diverse identities as students. But in this case, the remarkable thing was that some students who felt they were not good students, after they experienced school contexts in which they felt that they could be engaged, yeah, they felt that they could be one of those who can really benefit from being there, yeah, their identities as students changed. And I think that this is very, very promising. Yeah. Well, and I finish with this. This universal, well, we all know the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but maybe Article 27 is not that popular, and it should be very popular. It says, everyone has the right freely to participate in the cultural life of the community, to enjoy the arts, and to share in scientific advancement and its benefits. And why I want to finish with this? Because it says that one of the basic human rights is that everyone can benefit from scientific research. Yeah? So when we put into practice scientific research into schools, then we are putting into practice this basic human right included in Article 27. And, well, that was all. Thank you very much.